I'm going to tell you something that nobody else is going to tell you, certainly not in the conservative world, and that is simply this. Elon Musk was never, ever actually going to buy Twitter. You understand that, right? You get that? Look, eccentric rich people do strange things. And the one thing I have learned in my lifetime is that they like to mess with people. Everybody likes to mess with people. But when you've got a spare $43 billion lying around, messing with people becomes really fun in a lot of ways. Now, stay with me here, because I know conservatives have been celebrating this. You guys, we have been excited. Oh, Elon Musk is going to bring free speech back to Twitter. No, he wasn't. He couldn't do that because Twitter is an international company, which means that they have to obey laws outside of the United States. And it was never going to happen that way. Elon Musk did what he did. He put in his bid and forced Twitter to react. He forced them to go find their white knight. Do you understand how much effort went into that? How much political capital, not to mention financial capital, they had to expend to get somebody to try to fend off Elon Musk, and then failed anyway. Now today the news comes that Elon Musk wanted to have a guarantee from Twitter that less than 5% or 5% or less of actual users of Twitter are not bots, that they're something else. And of course, Twitter's not able to provide that because reality is that it's probably somewhere in that 20 to 25% of Twitter is robot. It's bots. It's not even real. Which brings us to the whole social media thing. And, there's that. Elon Musk was never really going to buy Twitter because what he was really doing was just messing with the people who run Twitter and the people who think that Twitter is reality, which it isn't, but they think that it is. You have this situation where he was going to mess with them. One of my favorite scenes, changing directions here just a sec. One of my favorite scenes in the show, The Big Bang Theory, is a scene where Jessica Walter, the gal that played Mallory Archer and Michael Bateman's mom in Arrested Development. I can't think of her name right now. Anyway, Bluth, the Bluth mom. She plays a character on The Big Bang Theory that's incredibly wealthy, and she's going to make a donation to the college, and so the guys, all four of them, have to suck up to her. And it's funny because she actually tells one of them, I just like messing with people, watch this. And she starts yelling at Raj, the Indian guy, for eating a shrimp. Who said you could eat that? It's hysterical. This is eccentric richism 101. And this is what Elon Musk is doing, folks. He's simply messing with the people that actually own Twitter right now and are trying to run it and who believe that Twitter is the be-all, end-all of existence. Now, that said, there's some cleverness to this, but there's also some misleading to it. And that is that we all believe that he was going to be the salvation of Twitter. Well, many people believe that. It was never going to be the case. And now he's found a way to, in essence, not buy Twitter because they can't show that 5% are bots. But what he's doing is brilliant because he's forcing Twitter to admit that they can't prove that less than 5% of Twitter users are bots. He's making them publicly prove that so that he can say, well, I'm not buying this thing. It's just a robotic propaganda machine. And he'll say that. And he'll probably say it on Twitter, which will be hysterical. And everybody will go, yeah, we all knew that. And Elon Musk will walk away without having spent, $27 billion of his dollars and $23 billion of other people's money. And everybody will be like, well, see, Twitter really isn't real. And you'll start to realize that. I can't blame him. Really can't. I mean, if I had $43 billion in pocket money just sitting around and I could convince other people to invest in it, I'd mess with people too. I certainly would try. I think I would go after baseball instead, but That's just my personality. His is dealing with people who don't like free speech. But don't kid yourself. Elon Musk is not a conservative. He's not even a Republican. He's barely libertarian. He's got libertarian leanings. But he is not a conservative. And he was never going to turn Twitter into this conservative bastion of free speech. It wasn't going to happen. Why do I say this? Well, last week, an amazing thing happened. Last week, I just happened to watch it because it was the only thing on. There was a baseball game in the Bronx, New York City. The Yankees were playing, I don't even remember. I want to say the White Sox, but who knows? Who cares? Doesn't matter. And the pitcher for the Yankees, a guy by the name of Cortez, was pitching that day. And he has been kind of an interesting pickup for the Yankees. He's been very solid as a spot starter and a reliever, and he's given them a lot of good work. And on this particular day, he was doing a spot start, and he, for some reason, was just in the zone. And for 7+ innings, he was into the 8th inning, he's throwing a no-hitter. And everybody's getting excited. Nobody's ever heard of this guy. And he's, he's throwing a no-hitter, and everybody's like, hey! And Major League Baseball is tuning in. Hey, Nestor Cortez is throwing a no-hitter for the Yankees, and everybody's getting excited. And, of course, he ends up losing the no-hitter in the 8th inning. And the Yankee fans that were there, and there were maybe a few thousand, it wasn't a well-attended game, stood up and applauded him. Yay! Everybody was happy, and Nestor Cortez walked off the field, and everybody was thrilled. Everybody was like, oh, yay, that's great. Okay, fantastic. Move on. Yesterday, not making this up, that was last week. Yesterday, Nestor Cortez had to delete his Twitter account. Why, you may ask? Because more than 10 years ago, when he was 17 years old, Nestor Cortez used Twitter. Now, this is weird. This is kind of freaking with my head a little bit because Twitter doesn't seem that like it's been around that long, but it has been. I was realizing the other day, Facebook's been around. I joined Facebook in 2009. Twitter was older than that. It's strange to me because I didn't even start with Twitter until I'm thinking it was around 2011, 2012. I mean, I might have had an account, but I didn't use it for anything. And it's 10+ years ago when Nestor Cortez was 17 years old, he made some tweets. He was in high school, and he made some tweets. And these tweets consisted of lyrics to songs that he was listening to. Not making this up, folks. They were songs, the lyrics to songs. They weren't even his words. They were other people's words that he was tweeting. And as it turns out, of course, they're rap songs. And they contain, dun, 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 offensive language. Misogynist, racist, whatever. Who cares? And Nestor Cortez was forced to apologize to the entire world to explain that 17-year-old Nestor Cortez, more than a decade ago, did something that was dumb, and he's pissed about it. But I deeply apologize for anybody who was offended. Nobody said a damn word about the lyrics themselves or the artists who wrote the words. Nothing. But Nestor Cortez, a guy who threw a 7 innings of no-hit ball, and you've never probably heard of, unless you happen to be a Yankees fan or a baseball fan, and you will never hear of again, was forced on the public stage to go out and apologize. And this is, I think, why Elon Musk likes messing with Twitter and social media in general. We live in a world where fake outrage is so quick to be generated, and God help you if you do something worthwhile. If you accomplish something in your field of work, if you suddenly find yourself in a headline on Quick Pitch or Yahoo Sports or any other kind of news, all of a sudden, suddenly everything you've ever said on social media is going to be combed through to find out if you are offensive. What have you said that erases everything you've done? We used to have a saying in the Navy. It's one of my favorite sayings. It goes like this. One shit wipes out 1,000 attaboys. It doesn't matter how good you've done. It doesn't matter if you're good at your job. It doesn't matter what you've accomplished. You do something that offends the social media world one time 12 years ago, you are a racist, a misogynist, an evil person, a white nationalist, whatever. You can't nobody could possibly take this seriously. Nobody could possibly look at Twitter, social media in general, and go, yeah, that makes sense. That's certainly what I want to be a part of. Nobody could do that. Nobody could possibly explain this. You know, we used to play that game. All right, if you went back in time or you brought George Washington to 2022, how would you explain cars to him? Forget cars. Forget technology and electricity, and they knew about electricity. Forget about baseball or sports or airplanes. Just try to explain social media to them. Try to explain it to aliens that might come down. Yeah, Congress in the middle of congressional hearings on space aliens, UFOs. Folks, if you're not smart enough to figure out they're trying to distract you from something, then there's nothing I can do to help you at this point. The fact of the matter is that this whole get-up on social media about you offended someone 12 years ago with lyrics to a song that someone else sang is complete nonsense. It's utter nonsense. It's so ridiculous that we can't even say it's ridiculous, because if we say it's ridiculous, then we're canceling the cancelers, and we're somehow or another enabling them to be whatever. Misogynist, racist, white supremacist. I don't know. Pick your offense. And if we don't oppose that, then we can't have that. And you'll notice this is exactly what they're saying about Elon Musk. He's going to enable people to do this if he takes over Twitter. Well, I got good news for you folks. Elon Musk isn't taking over Twitter. He never wanted to take over Twitter. What he wanted to do was embarrass you. And he's pretty much done that. Social media has made an utter mockery of itself in the sense that we've canceled Nestor Cortez, a pitcher for the New York Yankees, who threw 7 1/3 innings of no-hit baseball last week. That's how ridiculous we've gotten. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody cares. But by God, you social media wackadoodles, you got him. You cancel him because, 10 years ago, he quoted rap lyrics. Elon Musk has done a brilliant service in showing us just how screwed up social media really is. The question is, will we, us, the people who are still out here thinking that he's going to save us from this? Do you think we will? Do you think we'll hear what he's actually saying? Do you think we'll learn the lessons that he's actually trying to give us? Or will we just go, he didn't say free speech, and so he was a liar, without ever really understanding exactly what it is that Elon Musk was really, actually trying to accomplish. God bless him.